Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene for The Living Legend of the Five Rings. Contrary to the first scene we did that took place at the governor's new shiny palace, it's more like a kind of like large kind of mansion house. This scene takes place just off the market square on the northern side of the river in Kayudunkuro. And two of the samurai who have not yet been introduced, who have maybe just arrived this evening, still dusty from the road, are seeking to find some form of relaxation and maybe just get to know the local people nearby. And we'll head towards the Red Kitsune Sake House. And which one of you would like to arrive first?
Screw it, Tetsu can show up first.
You push into the house. It's early evening. The sun's just starting to dip, and there is a warm kind of glow. And as you step in, there's around a kind of like a dozen patrons sitting in kind of various groups. And as you step in, there's a moment of kind of silence as they look up and see this figure wearing the purple armor of the Unicorn Clan. And after a moment, the quiet kind of goes back to a kind of low talking, but a few people are giving you kind of looks, to say the least. And a lady will approach you. This lady is you imagine she's kind of middle age. She looks reasonably well off for somebody that's not wearing any kind of like samurai indicator. Although she's certainly not dressed in like she's wearing kind of like working clothes. And she will not look you in the eye and bow and say, "Unicorn-sama, what an honor. Please, you must forgive the state of this place. We did not expect visitors from the great clans."
Nonsense, this place looks amazing. You will, of course, well, I can't remember if you, she is the owner of this establishment and he is pretty nice. He'll offer a handout. Then he'll kind of stop. And he's like, we aren't in the unicorn lands, he says, as the hand slowly goes back to his side.
No, we are not. Forgive us for being ignorant of your customs. Please, we have a room at the back. It will allow you some privacy. And she actually kind of like walks kind of backwards from you and then turns around, and you actually see her go into the room, and you can hear her shouting, being like, "I've got actual customers now. You guys can get out of here. I need this room." And what looks like three kind of like early 20s or late teens kind of boys leave. One of them's carrying a kind of a Japanese guitar. I can't remember what you call them, but yeah, stringed instrument. And they kind of give her a resentful look, and she'll shoo them away. And just as this is being done, our next figure appears.
Yes, being recently arrived, probably just arrived in the town of Kyudenkuro. Toshiro thinks that to himself that a drink after the road might be appropriate before going to bed. And he approaches this sake house. And very timidly, walks inside.
Upon entering, you see, you kind of like, just as you're about to push past the awning that covers the door, three young men kind of like push out, almost bumping into you, and turn to you and give you a kind of one of them begins to say like, hey, watch where you're, and they see the colors of the great clans, they see your mons, they see your samurai bearing, they see your wakizashi at your belt, and an immediate look of terror crosses their faces, and they all three kind of bow very deeply and say, apologies, we did not mean to get in your way, Lord Samurai.
Toshiro looks at them with an understanding look. And he nods to the three men. Says, "It is an honest mistake. I'm certain that you meant no disrespect."
Certainly not Samurai-sama. And they just kind of stand there awkwardly. All of them appear to be looking at your feet. They're clearly waiting for permission to leave.
Yeah, he just gives them permission. Out of
And
character, I'm gonna need to give me some hints here and there because
I
think it's still cloudy.
Yeah, of course. And and they run off, and you hear once they kind of get around the alley, like the kind of tone of their voice has changed to be a bit more kind of like, holy crap, we made full, like, yeah, to be not as quite as terrified. And you push into the Red Kitsune bar. On either side of the door, actually, there is a kind of like wooden sculpture, very kind of rudimentary of a red fox. And you push in, and you see a tall man, I imagine, very handsome, wearing the wearing the purple of the Unicorn Clan. Also, his armor is lined with fur, truly the mark of the savages of the ex-Kirin.
Anything I can roll to get a better feeling of his rank, his...
Yes, you can roll law heraldry.
Okay.
Intelligence. So it's intelligence for law. The TN is... let me actually grab law heraldry.
And I think this dice roller works a bit different than the one we have in L1.
Yeah, there is a formula that Kimberly showed us, so it can roll properly, or you can just roll them. We can work it out, if you know what I mean.
I think I saw something about showing them. I can't find it. Actually, I did.
Maybe you can copy paste, because I know some people did some rolls earlier, and then you can just change it to your dice pool.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm rolling intelligence plus heraldry, so that's 4. And how many am I keeping?
You keep your intelligence.
So I'm keeping 3. $21.
Cool. Okay, yeah, you recognize the mons and the bearing on this man. You recognize that he is part of the Moto family and a member of the Moto Bushi school, renowned horsemen and warriors. Aside from that, his glory is too low to work out exactly who he is.
Fair enough. And Toshiro will not immediately approach, not knowing how to react, being a wild, since he he saw someone of his rank, but from a different clan. He's just a poor schoolboy. But yes, he reminds himself of the duty and the position he came to fulfill. So making contacts, at least from a social standpoint, might be useful. So he approaches the man and bows.
Tatsumura will kind of, pause for a moment because he was heading to the back room because he's like, I'm gonna get some sake. It's gonna be good. Then he stops and he turns around, and he sees the Aizawa approach, and then bow because his arm kind of twitched to go for that handshake, and he was like, "No, we don't do that here." And his arm, doesn't really, move as much anymore before he returned the bow and he goes, "Ah ha ha ha! It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Oda Tatsumura of the Unicorn."
My name is Isawa Toshiro of the Phoenix. Likewise, a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Unicorn-san.
The pleasure is all mine, Aizawa-san.
We are truly honored to have two friends from the road here. Would you care to share the room at the back, away from this scum? And she gestures to her kind of regular patrons, who definitely don't take it in any kind of offensive way.
It has been a lonely road. I'd very much enjoy a conversation, if Unicorn-san would have me at his table.
Of course. I would be honored.
Well, please come right this way. And she will guide you into the back room that has a paper door, and you can sit in what looks like much more kind of comfortable surroundings. And there's actually room for around a dozen people here, but you could find a corner for yourselves, and she will leave you saying she'll actually click her fingers at one of the serving boys to bring some sake.
Ooh. Well, this shall be interesting. It's been a while since I've had anything so fancy.
We have a large variety, if you would care to sample it. Many from across the Empire, Cranelands, from your own clans, Phoenix-sama, and even some of the prizes from the lands of the Yazuki. I have, I believe, a bottle of friendly traveler sake that I've been keeping for more prestigious patrons. Friendly traveler sake is basically considered one of the best, and it's located in northern crablands. The crab make the best sake.
Whoa. That sounds great. What do you think, Aizawa-san?
If it is not too much to ask for, I'd very much enjoy to sample it. I've heard a lot of praise about this friendly traveler sake.
She smiles at you very sweetly and then turns around and in a kind of harsh, demanding voice shouts at her, one of the serving boys, to to bring the bottle. And yeah, in a moment he does, and she will give it to you. And she will say, "Thank you so much. I will leave you to discuss your important affairs. If you need anything, please do call." And she will bowing back out of the room and close the door, leaving you two in the relative peace and quiet, away from the rest of the patrons.
Well, this should be interesting. I don't think I've ever met an Aizawa before. How are you?
I'm a bit weary from my travels. I've just recently arrived. Decided to take an evening stroll to enjoy the beauty and the attractions that the town has to offer.
Fair enough. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun then. Did you hear of the competitions that are set to happen soon?
I'm afraid I have not. Like I said, I've recently arrived in town, so there were no rumors that reached my ears.
Oh yeah, that's right. My apologies then. I think you might enjoy some of the ones that are set to happen. I've heard, if I remember correctly, Sadani was going to be one of the ones.
I thank you for this information, Moto-san. But at least for the moment, I would like to focus on my duties. And if there is time and there are no pressing matters that require my attention, I'll be sure to look into it.
Fair enough. What, oh, what, kind of snaps his fingers for a moment, trying to think of the word.
You get a slightly confused look from Toshiro.
I remember now. What duty are you going to be doing here? Exploration, military, the law.
It's more of a legal career, the one that I wish to pursue.
Ooh. So you're going to be the one making all the laws then, or at least, trying to get them through to our to lovely Otomodono.
Hopefully one day we'll get to that, but for the moment, I'm sure there are more basic tasks that need attendance.
Probably so, but what's the fun in just doing the basic tasks? It sounds boring.
There is a degree of satisfaction that comes from a job well done. Also, how are we to better ourselves regardless of the path we wish to follow, if we do not understand the basics to a point in which they become second nature.
You can see the wheels turning in his head right now. He doesn't do a lot of deep thinking. And he eventually says that's why you just keep going at it till everything becomes second nature. I mean, you still have to do the boring basic tasks because they're your duty, but it's always a bit more fun to do more than that. Of course, I am simply just kind of talking because at the end of the day, I still get to go to the garrison and sit in the barracks until such time as I just have to walk around the town guarding. Very basic tasks, but one that I will do dutifully. I don't really know your basic tasks, though I have no clue about all that law stuff that goes over my head.
I'm sure there are tasks that some might find less interesting, but necessary nonetheless. It's usually bureaucracy. But there are other aspects that require attention. I take it you are more of a military man yourself, are you not, Moto-sama? Son, sorry. Let's not go there.
He nods. He's like, yeah. Yep. Was raised by the Moto, went to the Moto Bushi school. Yep, lots of military things. But anyway, so what are those duties you were talking of earlier? I'm just really curious. Like, what do you, like, do in there? Do you just kind of think of things that should happen and then you write them down on like pieces of paper and just send them off, or like how does that go?
Good question, Robbie. Help. Robbie? I think we lost the storyteller along the way.
I was muted, apologies. The basics of being a magistrate are essentially just, enforcing imperial law. I don't imagine there's too much bureaucracy on your side. Your specialty would be, though, Lupu, you would know that you are a Shiginja, and therefore you have a kind of role, especially within the Phoenix, and your kind of specialty role in coming here is essentially like magical crime, things like heresy, blood magic, mahal, etc.
Which I'm not going to reference in a bar with someone I just met, for fuck's sake.
Well, no, but you can.
Yeah.
Work
Okay.
with the
Fair enough.
information.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So you say recently graduated from the Isawa Shugenja school, and I have been assigned to come to Kyuden Kuro as an apprentice to aid in matters more related to my schooling, matters that have to deal with improper, distasteful use of the art of the Shugenja.
He just kind of blinks. Wait, like, distasteful use? I didn't know you guys had any of that.
Well, unfortunately, there are some who disregard the walked paths of our forefathers and feel the need to skip certain steps. People that are too eager to gain ability, and in doing so, disregard the knowledge and the responsibility that ability requires.
Just kind of scratches his head. You mean like not honoring the kami or something?
In a way,
Oh. Then you have a very important duty indeed. Just kind of, slams his hand down on the table.
he waits for a second before replying. Maybe there's a vague hint of a blush on his face. Well, Moto-san, you're far too kind in your appreciations, but one does what one can, and what one must, in order to fulfill one's duty.
I mean, yeah, we all have to do that. But that doesn't make it any less of a great, duty that you yourself are doing, making sure that people honor those that they are supposed to and not straying from whichever path you're talking about, because I honestly have no idea how you guys do all of that. I've never had the year of the kami in my life. But it is amazing that you do. And I think you have something like on your cheeks. Unless you just had like too much sake. I don't know. And he's kind of like leaning over, looking at him, and like not brushing his cheeks, but he's like brushing his own kind of cheeks where like that little faint blush is, and he's like, it's like right around here.
He looks down at his cup and looks back at Tetsumura and says, "You might be right, Moto-san. Maybe it would be advised that I take smaller sips."
He just kind of shrugs. That's up to you. I know I plan to do what I can to, well, probably wouldn't be a good first show if the first thing I did after. Sorry, I was dive bombed by a bird. If the first thing that I did after that court meeting was get completely gone via sake, probably shouldn't do that. There's some talk. I think the ID said that I should try to behave myself. I can't remember. It was in their letter, and I skimmed over it before I came here. But anyway, point being, it's up to you. I'm not trying to limit like your sake amount at all. I can carry on sometimes. So if I do, just be like, look, shut up. Yeah.
Gives you a bit of a smile. I'm sure we are all aware of the benefits of a cup of sake in the right company at the right moment. I'm sure that there is no harm in indulging in a taste of sake every now and then. Obviously, keeping our composure and not allowing the sake to take control of our demeanor or of our thoughts. If enjoyed in moderation, I think sake is a wonderful accompaniment to a good conversation.
Oh, indeed. Indeed. He kind of pauses for a moment. He squints his eyes because he's looking up at the ceiling right now as he just kind of squints. He goes, "Okay, is this true or not? I need to know. I was told in passing by an ID courier that if if you have a lot of sake and then you do something really, really stupid, you'll lose less honor if you try to play it off as you were drunk, because everybody knows how that goes. I can't remember if that was true or not, if he was telling me falsities. Of course, I don't believe a clanmate would. I just want to make sure and see if it's like something every clan does. Is that like a thing?
Good question. Uh,
I mean, ultimately, if you kind of can say you were drunk, then and you were a dick is less embarrassing than just being a dick. My one thing would be is I don't think we would refer to in character things like losing honor. It would be like be less shameful or something. Honors in like in character is not a quantifiable like stat. If you know what I mean.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's cool. But yeah. Sorry, I guess.
no, I'm just like, I default to looking over my sheet and seeing if I have to or can roll anything. Thinking.
It's not like a big thing. I think.
Oh, okay.
I've never heard of like I don't think specifically, but I think yeah, if you were drunk, you can play off bad behavior more easily. I assume.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna spend a couple of seconds thinking, and he's gonna say, and I do believe that people tend to be a bit more lenient when seeing someone acting in a shameful manner if they believe that particular individual is under the influence of sake. But I also do believe that it would be best to avoid the situation altogether. Like I said, I'm a firm believer in indulging in sake with moderation. The fact that most don't see acting on the will of sake to be as shameful as acting upon one's own will in a shameful manner is more of a show of the understanding nature of people and also their forgiving nature than an excuse to manifest our insufficiencies in behavior.
He nods. Okay. By chance, do you like horseback riding?
To be honest, I've never tried it myself. I hold great respect for those who have managed to become accomplished horsemen, both in the battlefield and as how should I put it? Both in the battlefield as well as due to personal reasons. But as far as I am concerned, no, I have never considered it myself. I'm more of a scholar. I do believe it takes a certain physical ability to be able to ride a horse with grace and efficiency.
Ooh. Just kind of nods. So what about you? I know I've been speaking a lot of like myself and just speaking a lot in general. I do not wish to, you know, take over the conversation. I know I can be quite loud. So, what about you then?
Mm. I'm not particularly a particularly good conversationalist. I've spent most of my time among scrolls and among masters trying to absorb as much of their wisdom as I could. And for this reason, probably I might seem more silent, but by all means, feel free to ask whatever you'd like to know.
Okay. He shrugs. Hmm. Oh, there a while ago we had a scorpion come in once, very long time ago. I was a kid, but the scorpion was a really good storyteller, and I love stories, so I stuck and I like spoke with the scorpion for a little bit, even though my mom was like, "Don't you do that!" But anyway, so they had this game. It was a really neat game. It was They called it 101 questions. To put it simply, what this game was the Scorpion would ask a question, and I would answer the question, but then I got to ask them a question, and it just kind of went back and forth of, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. Would you want to do that then?
I think if we continue with the sake for 202 questions, there would be very little left to say at the end of the bottle or the conversation. I'm sure 101 might be a bit of a high number. So might I suggest starting off with the smaller number, let's say 10, and see how it goes.
Oh, my apologies. I did not mean to say that we had to ask 101 questions. That was simply the name that they gave the game. 101 questions. It was something along the lines of, dearest young Moto-chan, would you like to play the game of questions? 101 questions? And then he went on to just explain the game to me, and that was about it. We don't actually have to do like 101 questions. I don't think we even have to drink. I'm pretty sure he was just trying to get some information, but I was young and more curious how he got his hair up into that bun that he had it in. So I just kept asking questions about the bun, and like my answers were really stupid. But anyway.
Gives a bit of a smile. I'm sure that the information is very valuable, but I do have to admit that the scholar in me would be curious to find out more about the other great clans and their families. I have heard stories in the past about the might of the unicorn, both on the battlefield as well as in court. To be an honor and true delight to have this opportunity. And he takes a small sip from his cup, says, by all means, Monto-san, enlighten me in the ways of the game of questions and do me the honor of asking the first.
He just reaches up and, scratches his chin for a moment. Unable to grow any facial hair, poor dude. And then he nods and he goes, okay. Okay. No, don't laugh at this question. But how did you get your bun to be that perfect and sleek? Because let me tell you, I can't do it for whatever reason. That's why I end up having to throw it into a ponytail because I can't get it into like a perfect bun.
The short answer would be practice. Repetition. I've always worn my hair like this. I find it functional, easier to manage. But doing it for as long as I can remember, every morning, sometimes with less success, sometimes with more. Get the hang of it. What I would suggest is give yourself time. Try to see it like a duty to yourself, to present yourself in the best possible way in front of your peers, and it will become second nature. For me, it seems like you're asking me how do I manage to wake up in the morning. It's become so natural. But I understand your question, but unfortunately there is little wisdom that I can share on the matter.
He nods and then goes, "Ah, well, your wisdom has been enough and very enlightening. Thank you. I'm eager to hear your question."
Looks at him for a second, takes another very, very subtle sip, barely wetting his lip up, scratches his not extraordinary but still present goatee.
It's more than he has.
And he looks at you and says, well, Moto-san, since you most likely had more time than I did to walk around the town and see its various facets, may I just ask you how have you found Kyuden-kuro? Is it to your liking? Is it different from the places that you found yourself accustomed to?
Oh, indeed, it is very, very different. But it's a good different. It's a place I can explore, and something I am eager to explore as well. Even if I have to do it on my patrols, I will gladly do that because it just seems wonderful, honestly. So I've been enjoying it.
As you two chat in conversation, the bottle of sake being about half drunk by now, suddenly the wooden door slides open with a bang. And there are 4 samurai standing there in armor with weapons, not drawn, but at their hips, wearing the colors of the Crow clan, the white, black, and grey. And all 4 of them just look at you, and both of you feel this kind of imperceptible feeling of threat. What do you do?
Because he knows the Phoenix is probably a lot better at the social things than he is. He's just gonna kind of look over. It's kind of like, by your lead.
And yeah, Toshiro's gonna look at them, and they're all four of them are carrying katanas, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like, okay. And there's like they look like threatening.
Their expressions look completely deadpan, almost no, like absolutely no emotion in their faces or whatever. They're kind of just like unblinkingly staring at you, and this obviously is kind of weirdly threatening.
Yeah. Well, seeing as he's pretty much dealing with people of the same rank, he's gonna try and play the friendly card and ask if they would like to join them for a drink.
As you offer them to join you for a drink, they all four of them at the exact same time basically just like focus on you. And if you finish saying, the one that's standing at the front, apologies for interrupting, but no thank you. We will leave. And all four of them turn around and walk out of the sake house. You were spoken to with utmost politeness, but yeah, almost no friendliness or emotional kind of input.
Fair enough. Everything was very formal.
They are maintaining their their face.
Tetsu is gonna look over slowly to the Phoenix and just kind of say, I am not sure about you, but that was really weird, and I think they want us to follow them. I'm pretty sure they don't, though, but that was really odd. Why would you walk in here, interrupt, and then just walk out? That's weird. I want to go see what's up. Do you want to go?
Maybe they're just regulars. We can't assume that this room was reserved especially for us. We might, unbeknownst to us, have intruded on their usual table. As far as I could tell, they bore us no ill will. They might as well have been searching for someone in particular. See no reason. They are doing their duty. We are doing ours.
See, I'm not sure that we're intruding upon their table because well, I'm not sure if she told you, but the proprietor of this establishment said that she didn't really often get guests like us. She didn't have a lot of samurai, and those were crows. And so if this was their table, if they came here often, she wouldn't have said that. So I don't know.
If Moto-san's curiosity desires to be fulfilled, might I suggest asking the proprietor about the gentleman. Okay, fair enough. Maybe not the best term. Robbie, is there a better equivalent to gentleman in like Rokugani language?
I mean, samurai is the obvious direct one, but as a kind of colloquial reference, I don't know.
Okay.
Honorable
I'll stick to
man of honor or
gentleman.
something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with gentleman. Yeah, I'm sure if there is somebody that knows uh, about the gentleman, that she might have more information. But I see no reason to pursue them since, from what I could notice, they did not require any assistance, nor did they, at least to me personally, give the impression that they were looking for a more private conversation. I see little reason to disturb our pleasant conversation here, to pursue them and perhaps intrude on a business that is not ours.
It just kind of pauses for a moment. He's like, "Did you not like see the way they were looking at us, though? They didn't seem very, uh, you know." If they have a problem with me, I'd rather deal with this now. If they don't like all of us here, that's fine. But it's something that needs to be stomped out now. These unpleasant feelings before they get into something worse. That's how, I don't know, wars start. But anyway, I will bow to your superior knowledge in matters like this. I am but a simple bushi. Perhaps we should ask the proprietor then. And he stands up and he walks over to the door and he does that thing where he'll kind of pull it to the side and then he'll tilt his head at like a 90-degree angle and just kind of peer out, of the little crack he did in the door looking for her.
She's behind the bar, appears to be berating one of the serving boys. But yeah, as soon as you poke your head out, a smile appears on her face and she comes over. Is there anything I can help you with, Unicorn Summer?
Yes. Those crow that just walked in, are they regulars here by chance?
She looks over. Members of the Crow clan occasionally frequent here, yes.
Do they specifically sit back here?
It would depend, Unicorn Summer. They sit wherever they like, naturally.
Naturally, yeah. Did you lead them back there, or did they just kind of storm in?
I would not accuse anybody of storming, but they walked back there. I was momentarily distracted with Obi. She scowls back at one of the cowering serving boys. I apologize if they intruded on you. I'm sure no offense was meant.
Oh, no. Of course not. I am simply trying to get to the bottom of something, if that makes any amount of sense.
You believe something is out of place?
It is possible. But it is what one supposes that it is. Thank you for your time and your excellent sake.
Of course. Thank you. Please tell your friends.
Of course.
There is no better sake house in all of Kaiden Kuru.
I have no doubt about that. This place has been wonderful and the service has been amazing. Much better than back home.
She smiles and steps back, giving you your privacy.
He wanders back in, plops down. Yeah, nah, apparently. I mean, they just go wherever they want, I guess. I don't know.
There is a sense of familiarity with their surroundings that some get after a time. But I stand with my initial opinion that they bore us no ill will. I'm sure that if they had something personal with either of us, that they are familiar enough with the proper way of settling such a matter or such a concern.
Of course. You are correct.
He takes another sip of his sake and gives Tetsumura a bit of a kind smile. And as he puts his cup down, he says, I do believe it was your turn to ask your question, Moto-san.
He kind of rubs his chin. What do you guys do? Should Ginjo or just in general? I know you like pray to the kami and everything. How does you know? Maybe not that question. I don't know. You might have secrets you might want to protect. Okay, what about the Phoenix then?
You'd like to learn more about my clan?
Yeah, you guys are pretty interesting.
Smiles a bit. As far as my clan is concerned, we pride ourselves in being devoted followers of the Tao of the Shinsei. We find our strength in knowledge passed on by our forefathers. Some might say that it distracts us from certain other aspects, but I do believe there is an amount of wisdom and virtue that can be gained by studying the teachings of Shinsei, as well as the other tenets that we all must follow. The teachings of peace and peacefulness resonate with our hearts better than others. As far as Bushido is concerned, I do believe that The tenet that appeals to us most is the one of honesty. One need not stain their souls with deception and lies. And we also, as you probably might know, are the clan that, through the grace of the most selfless of Kami, through the grace of great Shiba himself, have been blessed with the most Shugenja. It is the ability of the Shugenja that has become a sort of a staple of my clan. Though some might argue that we have provided the Empire with faithful and capable Bushi and courtiers, as well as Shugenja.
That's really cool. Thank you for telling me this. It has been great getting to learn all of this new stuff.
So it might be so bold as to mirror your questions, Moto-san, as to my shame, I know little about the great clan of the Unicorn.
Well, I can tell you all that you want to know. The unfortunate part is I tend to rabble on and on and on about my clan because I love it so much. And our history is amazing. So, do you want the short version or do you want the long version?
I am in no rush, so by all means, if you'd care to share the long version, I'd be more than happy and I'd be honored to hear it.
He claps and rubs his hands together. Okay. Get comfortable because you're in for a ride. For a very, very long ride.
You see,
So-
he's like shifting his feet, like trying to find a bit more comfortable position. Takes another small sip of his cup and like puts his hands together, and you have his full undivided attention.
So, we are led by the Kami Lady Sinjo. Or she, she's the founder of our clan. So, quite some time ago, after we fought some crazy stuff, it was insane. She decided that we needed to absolutely go outside of our walls and find the threats out there before we returned, or before they were able to hit Rokugan itself. It was with a heavy heart that we went, but she actually released all of her followers. We were not bound by duty anymore, and she said that I do not expect any of you guys to go with me. It is not, blah, 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 blah. Basically, everyone, after she released us from our duty, looked back at her and said, we will not leave you. And so we went with her. In that turn, she gave us a promise. And this promise was that she would never abandon us. Out past the walls we went, out into the desert. It was difficult. And we met a lot of different people. Thankfully, you know, we were able to make it, and the years passed and passed. And there was a particular tribe that had, you know, impressed Lady Shinjo, and she allowed them to be part of the clan. This tribe was renamed, and he proudly, you know, balls his hand up into a fist and he slams it on his chest and goes, "They were renamed the Moto. Thus began my family. The only family of a clan in Rokugan that was not originally of the Rokugani. We are completely Gaijin. Not completely, of course, because now we've taken families, you know, with like the Crane and everybody else, but we came from Gaijin. It kind of leads us to have a really unsavory reputation and why everyone expects us to do stupid stuff and to be uncivilized. But I consider myself relatively civilized, but it is what it is. I'm continuing now. Of course, there were lots of trials along the way. A lot of trials. But we managed to pass through every single one of them until one day we got a message from Lady Shinjo saying that it was our time to go back to Rokugan. And back we came. The crab had, you know, been guarding the walls for several, you know, centuries now, and we kind of had to break through the crab and, you know, kind of break back into Rokugan because we were no longer recognizable as the noble Kirin clan. We had been, you know, we had taken on the name and became the unicorn. But anyway, so we kind of had to fight our way tooth and nail to get back into Rokugan, to go to, you know, it was a long, boring process. But we did it. And we got back in, and we were, you know, it was us. We were the big clan. Once again, the great clan, the unicorn. A lot of people really didn't like us at that point, but it was okay. And it was kind of funny because we speak the most archaic language of Rokugani, I should say. The current Rokugan language that we were speaking now, we didn't speak that because we spoke such a pure thing. Because during our time out there beyond the wall, the idea of Rokugan itself was pretty much our paragon. It's what kept us going for centuries, 8 centuries. We did not change the language at all. We did not mess with the written language at all. Everything was pure. And so when we returned, people kind of freaked out. But it was what it was. And now after, it's kind of heartbreaking a little bit for us, but, you know, I mean, we deal with it. But after being so long with Rokugan as our paragon, to return and be called uncivilized and savages, and, you know, it's a little heartbreaking after, you know, yearning for home for so long. But hey, it is what it is. You guys have moved on, created your own little culture, and we've taken up the cultures of everyone else. But it's it's interesting because we are always told to honor our ancestors. But that's the thing. Our ancestors are not they are not similar to your ancestors in a cultural way because they were living out in the desert past, the walls of Rokugan. And so we have a choice. It is a question every unicorn asks themselves at least once in their lifetime. Respect my ancestors and be shamed for it, or strive for acceptance and renounce my traditions. And either way, it breaks us. If we renounce our traditions and we take up the mantle and the cultures of the other clans, we are seen as outsiders from our own clan. They don't really accept us because we've renounced our traditions. And at the same time, if we don't, we're just kind of worn down by mockery from all the other clans as they just talk about what we wear and how we act and how we shake hands instead of bowing. But it is our tradition. We are respecting our ancestors and upholding our tradition. Every other clan does the same, and we are shamed for it. It's just what it is, though. My apologies for this long, kind of talk about the unicorn. We have a lot of odd customs.
Gives you a bit of a smile. No, by all means, it has been informative and, dare I say, even enlightening certain aspects. I do firmly believe in honoring one's ancestors. Though I also believe that maybe some matters of the past should be left as more history than common practice. But I also think that intention matters a lot. If it is not done in ill will, sure that minor breaches of etiquette could be considered a slight mishap instead of the insult that some might see in it. We are, after all, a varied people, even within the same clan. But I do believe that our tenets of etiquette are more than simple formalities. They serve to separate us from the commoners. That is more expected of us than of them. Therefore, I believe we should hold ourselves to a higher standard.
He nods.
Even though this conversation has been truly delightful, and I do look forward to continuing it. Unicorn Sun, I do have to apologize. The hour is getting late, and fortunately, there is a bit of unpacking I have to do before I lay my head down to rest this evening. So, would you mind if, with your permission, I take my leave for the evening?
Oh, you don't need my permission, please, please. I do not wish to keep you. If you are tired, then please do go rest. It has been my great pleasure of speaking so long with such a wonderful person, Azawa-san.
He nods and sits up and bows to his new acquaintance and makes his way out. And unless you want to add anything else, I believe we can call this a scene.
Yep. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. It's been a scene.